Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. So, let's talk about culture. But what is it really? Today, we're going to go way beyond the surface level stuff and get into the invisible rules, the ones that are secretly running the show in all of our lives. All right, to kick things off, let's do a little exercise. I'm going to say a word, and I just want you to notice what image pops into your mind. Ready? The word is culture. I'm willing to bet your brain went straight to something you can see, right? You probably thought about amazing food or colorful flags, big festivals, maybe even fashion. And yeah, those are absolutely the beautiful, visible parts of culture we all know and love. But here's the thing. That's only what's on the surface. What if I told you all of that stuff? The food, the festivals, it's just the tip of a giant iceberg. And that the really important, powerful parts of culture are the ones we can't even see. So let's do it. Let's dive under the water and take a look at these invisible rules. Okay, so this quote from our source material really gets to the heart of it. Check this out. The essence of culture is not these behaviors themselves, but the rules that produce the behaviors. Whoa. Think about that for a second. It's a total game changer, right? It's not about what we do. It's about the invisible programming, the cultural software that's running in the background and making us do it. So to put it a bit more formally, culture is this whole system of values, worldviews, and standards for how to act. It's basically the invisible instruction manual we all get for how to make sense of the world. And it's so powerful, it shapes everything. I mean, everything, from how we think about time to how close we stand to someone when we're talking. So how does this whole invisible system actually work? Well, a few key things to know. First, these rules aren't hardwired into our DNA. We learn them. They're shared by a group, and they're the engine that produces all those visible behaviors we talked about. But here's the craziest part, and my personal favorite. Most of the time, the people inside the culture can't even tell you what the rules are. It's just the way things are done. You know, it's like asking a fish to describe water. It's just everywhere. Okay, so theory is great, but let's see what happens when these invisible rules crash into each other in the real world. Let me tell you a story I'm calling the naptime struggle. So meet Jose. He's a little guy, just 17 months old, and he and his family have just moved to the US. He starts at a new childcare program, but there's a problem, a big one. Every single day at naptime, it's a total struggle. He just will not sleep on his little cot. He cries, and it's getting tough for him and all the other kids. And this is where you can really feel the tension. His teacher, Carla, is just heartbroken. She feels like she's failing him. You know, she's worried about Jose. She's frustrated. She's been trying for 2 months and just can't figure out how to help him. So Carla does something amazing. She arranges a home visit. And this is the moment where the light bulb goes on. She finds out that at home, Jose sleeps right next to his mother. And in his home country, that's not just normal, it's how things are done. And bam, that's the missing piece. The problem was never about a naughty kid or a bad teacher. It was a head-on collision between two different, invisible cultural rule books. At home, the goal was interdependence. Sleeping together builds connection and community. But at school, the goal was independence. Sleeping alone builds self-reliance. Poor Jose was literally caught in the middle of two totally different worlds with two totally different sets of instructions. Jose's story is the perfect example of how easy it is to get culture wrong. So, with that in mind, let's play a little game of myth busting. We're going to tackle 4 big myths about culture. Okay, myth number 1, essentialism. This is the idea that you can basically master a culture by just learning a list of facts about it, like you're studying for a test. But the truth, it's so much more complex than that. Culture isn't a checklist. It's an operating system. You can't just memorize the file names. You have to understand how the whole thing works. All right, myth number 2, overgeneralization. This one is huge. It's when we assume that everyone from a certain culture thinks and acts the exact same way. But the reality is, people are people. Individuality is key. Everyone is connected to their culture in their own unique way, and our personal stories and experiences matter a lot. Myth number 3 is the idea of stability, that cultures are these ancient, unchanging things that are perfectly preserved in glass cases. Nope. The truth is, culture is alive. It's dynamic. It's constantly changing, morphing, and evolving, thanks to new technology, new challenges, you name it. And our final myth to bust, this single culture myth. This is the assumption that one family equals one culture. But In our interconnected world, that's just not true anymore. A single family can be this incredible, beautiful mix of different cultures and identities all under one roof. Okay, so we've busted the myths, we understand the invisible rules, so what? What do we actually do with this information? How do we go from just appreciating culture to taking real, meaningful action?
And this is maybe the most important point of the whole explainer. The goal isn't just cultural appreciation, saying, oh, I love the food, or the music is great. The real goal is cultural empowerment. That means we actively work to support and validate the entire cultural system that a person brings with them. It's a huge difference. So what does that actually look like on the ground? Well, it means really partnering with people and families to understand their unique strengths. It means valuing someone's home language as a superpower, not a deficit. It's about creating spaces where everyone feels seen, with books, art, and stories from all over. And maybe the biggest thing is to let go of the idea that there's one right way to do things, because what's best practice can look totally different from one community to the next.
And that's where I want to leave you today. We've spent all this time learning to see the invisible rules that guide other people, but now I want you to turn that lens on yourself. What are the invisible cultural rules that guide your life? What's the unwritten software that shapes how you act, what you believe, and how you see the world every single day?